Should we just get into it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to Life Lane's Brotherly Guide. We're your hosts, Justin and Don Mazza. On today's episode, we're bringing on an old guest to the podcast, Lindsay Hockler. Lindsay completed a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling and is working as a full-time clinician, now seeing clients in the greater New York area. Some areas that Lindsay focuses on in her practice include body positivity and the importance of body acceptance. Today we're going to be discussing tips and tricks to improve one's body's confidence and uncover some reasons as to maybe why we think a certain way we do about our bodies. Without further ado, here's Lindsay Hockler.
Hey, thanks for
Hey,
having me
Lindsay.
back.
Oh, you're always welcome back. We love having you back. I think your
Thanks.
episode was one of our strongest episodes from a
Okay.
metric perspective.
Took your blood.
How could I forget? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that blood test really yielded any good results. It
It's just me,
was an
No, I'm kidding.
experience. Yeah, yeah. So,
Cool.
Lindsay, before we get into what we're going to be talking about today, can you just give a quick recap of maybe what you do, what sort of issues you
Yeah.
see with your clients, and how that looks?
Sure. Yeah. So I am a mental health counselor under a limited permit right now. So I am basically like an associate therapist. I'm under supervision by an amazing supervisor, and I'm part of an amazing practice that works with outpatient clients working on a array of issues. Some issues that we see practice wide are anxiety, depression, life transition, stress, trauma, grief. We work with it all. Those are issues that I work with as well. But one issue that we see in the mental health field across the board, especially as the weather gets warmer, is body image struggles. So I think
Mhm.
this is a really great time to be talking about some of this stuff, as it just affects a lot of folks across the board.
Do you work with eating disorders?
It depends on the level. So our practice may work with individuals who struggle with disordered eating, but it depends on the level. So if they're actively restricting or actively like binging and purging and um, not getting enough stuff in their body, nutrients, it wouldn't be the clinic for them.
Mm.
It would be more appropriate for that person to be seen by a eating disorder specialty practice. That's what I'm trying to say. Or in some cases, maybe intensive outpatient or partial hospitalization, depending on the magnitude of
So,
the
like
eating disorder.
mild eating disorders, maybe like kind of reevaluating your relationship with food, things like
Yeah,
that.
that
Yeah.
stuff is fine for private group practice. It really depends on like the resources the practice
Mhm.
has, right? So if we had a nutritionist, if we had psychiatrists on staff, it would be kind of a different story. But we're just a group of social workers and mental health counselors. When someone struggles with any kind of situation or disorder to that level, they need a practice with multidisciplinary staff.
Mhm. The reason I asked is because I think there might be a role for you under the Dr. Dom Wellness umbrella,
Oh
and
wow.
we can discuss that at a later date. But some of my business brain has been churning about this.
Great. I'd love
I
to
digress. Yeah,
collab.
cool, cool. All right, so you definitely work a lot with body positivity, and like you said, the summer months are coming
Yeah.
up. People feel really insecure about their bodies for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
Um, I did find a very interesting article that went into 20 ways to boost your body confidence, right? And
Mhm.
I just want to take a deep dive into some of these and really unpack it and
Yeah.
see if there's any merit to them.
Yeah.
There's also some launching points based off of each one. So why don't we just get right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. So the first one, recognize that accepting your body matters. Your body is the longest friendship that you will ever have, and it's important to take care of that relationship, says Tasha Bailey, a therapist based in Southeast London, and author of the book Real Talk Body Confidence is a Common Cause of Concern for Her Clients.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, Real Talk. I was like, that's a terrible name for a book. The book is just called Real Talk. Body confidence is a common cause of concern for her clients, especially among women and non binary people, she says, and people are increasingly thinking about cosmetic procedures because they have become so normalized. Lindsay, I
Yeah.
asked this question to you. Why do we have such a tough time accepting our bodies?
Gosh, I mean, if you think about it, I think the biggest factor is our environment and what we're soaking in. So like our the media, right? A lot of what we see are these individuals, I don't care what the gender is, male, female, non-binary, trans, like what we see in media is like most of the time an image of a perfect body. Or even if it's like um someone who's considered on the plus size, on that kind of scale, like very proportionate, very airbrushed, very filtered, right? So when people look at their own body, it's like, well, my body does not look like that. My body doesn't even look like that, even though they're considered plus size or like have a normal body. Like it's very fixed and filtered. So what we are seeing most of the time, especially because we are attached to these things all the time. So what we're taking in is not what we're looking in the mirror and kind of seeing, and we're feeling that that's not okay. That what we're taking in through media is the standard of beauty, but what we see in the mirror is not. And that's really tough. That's really, really tough.
Yeah, and we'll get into later how social media plays a role in all of this.
Yeah.
Um, Justin, do you have anything? Feel free to just jump in whenever you have something that you want to comment on.
Yeah, I mean, coming from a guy who suffers from eating disorder and has compared himself many, many times, I think just on the environment, to your point, I was like thinking about what is healthy and how that's, or what is attractive, and that's changed through time. Like, I definitely at one point, right, when this is who knows how many thousands of years ago, right, men or women's bodies was a different composition, and that was attractive for whatever reason versus what they are now. I was actually curious about why, when we think of the perfect image, like to your point, I think we all come to like this muscular, lean physique that's been probably since the 90s or like the 80s, even before that. No, but because women who had larger breasts and larger butts were known to give were better at birthing like thousands
Well,
of
not
years ago.
not not
Right.
larger butts, larger hips.
Hips, which causes larger butts, and so it's, depend what animal.
Oh my goodness.
So like no, but I've read about this a little bit about just like the skinny mini, like how that's taken over, and now it's like more athletic physiques. But yeah, to your point, it's environment.
Yeah.
It's also like how we grow up and like. But I like the just going back to recognize that accepting your
Yes.
body matters. I like that comment, Dom. I think right that it's your longest friendship that you'll ever have.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a cool way of thinking about it. Like you need
Yeah.
to be kind to yourself and accept also genetics have a play. Like we were talking about this pretty recently. Even Dom, you and I were talking about the genetics factor. We're like,
Yeah.
maybe we want something from our bodies, but it's very hard to achieve. Accepting that sometimes is like the first step of just being happier with your body.
Right.
I have something to like throw in there, like especially when we talk about this topic. We talk about self-confidence. How do we do that, right? Another word that I kind of want to throw in there is self-compassion. How can we be compassionate for ourselves? Also, like taking on maybe not a body positive stance, but for some folks who just can't, maybe body neutrality. This is my body. This is the vessel I'm in. Am I like thrilled and throwing parties for myself because I love how I look? Maybe not. And that's okay. This is the body that I'm in. Maybe I want to change, and that's okay. But like going back to the quote that Tasha Bailey says, like, this is the longest friendship you'll have. That you are in a relationship with your body. How are you going to be in a relationship to your body? Are you going to be in a relationship to your body? You're going to beat yourself up? Or can you be self-compassionate to the vessel that you're living in?
Yeah.
That's the work,
I,
I think.
I think that's all very fair. I remember a quote that I heard a long time ago was that, if you're wanting to change something about your body, change it, right? If you can. And if you can't change it, don't worry about it because you can't change it. Like if you want to be taller, you can never be taller.
Work on that for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's hard to accept, but it's basically it comes down to stoicism or the serenity prayer, where it's having the wisdom to know what you can and cannot change about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and really accepting that that's just what it is.
And that's where self-compassion and self-acceptance come in.
Yeah.
And there are so many like, therapeutic things that you can do to foster self-compassion and acceptance and commitment therapy, mindful CBT, but I kind of just like the mindfulness part, CBT, whatever. That's a different tangent for a different day. Yeah, there are ways to get there, but it's a practice, right? It's not a magic wand. It's something that you have to consistently put in practice and like restructure those thoughts
That
that
kind of flows
come
into
up.
my next question.
Yeah,
And do you feel like this is it's natural for the relationship of you and your body to change as you get older?
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%.
Why do you think that may be the case?
I think because, like, as people, our bodies change. They're supposed to change. Like, that's just how nature is. As we
Hmm.
get older, for individuals who give birth to children, like, your body is gonna change after that.
Hmm.
So, and also, like, maybe your values matter. Maybe when you were a teen, like, you really struggled with body image, but maybe like as you grew up and like had different life experiences, you found less importance on having the perfect body. Or maybe there's so many factors that can contribute to a change in relationship to your body, both ways, both negative and positively.
Yeah. Something that I just thought about was, let's say whatever 1,000 years ago, I'm assuming people did not really have too much issues with body dysmorphia. I
Hmm.
don't know. I haven't spoken to any of those people, but the what I'm getting at is that the lifestyle that they lived was very conducive to a chiseled body. Like there was a lot of manual labor, and the fruits of that labor, no pun intended, was
Hmm.
a lean, athletic type of build. Now we have definitely strayed away from that type of lifestyle, right? And even
Right.
kind of frowned upon that lifestyle, where it's more sought after to be like someone who's making a lot of money, like probably not working like a blue collar, like work in the
Hmm.
fields type of job.
Yep.
But that's kind of, like what we were designed to do originally was to, be hunter gatherers, right? And,
Yes.
again, that lifestyle was very conducive to that body. Just an
Hmm.
interesting thought that just
No,
popped in.
definitely. Yeah. As our like world changes and
Exactly.
things
Yeah.
develop, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
All right, shall we bump into the next one?
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. So, the second point is know that we live in a difficult moment for body image.
Yeah.
Over the past 15 years, beauty ideals have changed a lot. With AI, photo editing, and filters, they are more unrealistic than ever, says
Hmm.
Philippa Deirdricks, professor of psychology at the Center of Appearance Research at the University of West. God. Philippa Deirdricks, professor of psychology at the Center for Appearance Research at the University of the West of England in Bristol, and author of the forthcoming The Body Confidence book for teenagers. Philippa
Mm.
says, we have so many opportunities to compare ourselves online, and now that we can create images of ourselves that try to replicate them, I think this shines a light on the very human tendencies that have always been there, but unfortunately, social media and selfie culture magnifies them.
This is exactly what I was saying. The images that we are taking in as adults, as children, teens, like they are heavily filtered.
Yeah.
You are seeing a highlight reel of people's lives consistently expanding out of body image. That's what you see on social media. And there's a
Hmm.
lot of like, I'm missing out. I'm not enough, right? I don't have this, so I'm not enough. I don't look like this, so I'm not enough. It's really difficult. And like another thing I want to throw in there is that the diet industry is $1 billion industry, and like there are so many advertisements for this stuff, and it's really getting in people's heads. And these companies profit off of individuals' vulnerability and like negative self-talk. So yeah, it is a difficult moment because you're hearing all these advertisements of like get in shape, and like they're showing you an image of something that's very filtered, not
Yeah.
realistic, right? It's hard. It's hard.
I
We're
know. I
getting it.
know.
Yeah.
Even before AI, right? Or before the normal consumer had access to AI, you would see these images on social media and you'd be like, wow, like they look so good. But then if you like actually start to do editing on your own photo and then you get churned out looking like a supermodel, you're like, holy shit, like what do these people actually look like?
Right.
And now with AI where you can just generate these images, like I just saw this AI video of somebody made Luka Doncic, who's a famous basketball player, say something that he didn't say,
It's
but it
crazy.
like looked like he was saying it in like a media post. So I don't know what the impacts are going to be, a couple years down the line as far as that goes. If we're going to be able to distinguish, what's real and what's AI generated.
Wild.
Who knows? Um, Justin, you have any comments on this?
Just on you said about AI, I think not to get off topic, but how AI impacts body image and such. I'm sure there'll be also positive ways where AI could learn from your eating. This is now more on the fitness side, but learn about your workouts, your eating habits, and continuously update a program with you. Like
Mm-hmm.
that personal training could easily be an AI type function or supplemented by that. But when it comes to body image, I would agree. I think in the last, I remember when Victoria's Secret, I don't know how long ago this was, right? They wouldn't put any plus size material, I think, in stores, or that's how it started. And then they wouldn't have anyone above a certain size in their show.
Yeah.
But then to give them credit, like they completely switched year over year and then now they have people with prosthetics, like who don't have legs and prosthetic legs. And like it's become, I'll give that company a lot of credit because they were so known for females, even men's, like to look a certain way and clothing a certain way.
I
But they
wouldn't give
flipped
them
it.
too much
No, I
credit. I
wouldn't
feel
either.
That's not a
they're just
positive
doing
thing.
it.
No.
They're just doing it to sell more product.
That's fine, but it starts.
That's fine.
Everyone's going to do something to start to sell more product. At least Lululemon won't make certain sizes.
No.
because they don't want their people wearing
Lululemon.
it.
No. Lululemon has expanded their sizing for sure.
Because
They
they
have.
kicked out their president.
Right, and I think that's what Victoria's Secret did.
Yes,
So
Dom,
they
I know the name of Lululemon.
expanded their size.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh.
what I was laughing at.
No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know
The
who did
name
a
is Lululemon.
really fabulous job of this, and I will give them credit because this store gave me trauma as a child. Abercrombie.
Oh yeah, and
They
Hollister's and all those.
Hollister, I don't know, I won't speak on, but Abercrombie had me in a chokehold as a child, and I couldn't fit into their clothes for the life of me, and it made
We
me
could not either.
feel really horrible. And now that they have very size inclusive clothes, it's pretty remarkable, very healing to kind of see, oh my gosh, it wasn't me, it was the
Yeah.
brand who only made up to a size like 6, like, you know.
When you think about companies though, and like why it's hard for them to expand
Justin, please put the microphone closer.
when you think about companies and why it's hard to expand, to Dom's point, Dom, it's profit, right? Like if you're traditionally selling to sizes, A through whatever, or 0 through 6, right? Like a very selective size, but only 5% of your customers are wanting something else outside of that. They
Wrong.
have to stop. Hold on. This is not wrong. This is how companies operate. This is business.
This is wrong.
It's wrong morally.
Okay, Justin. No. Okay, go ahead.
If you need to make a product that's outside your dedicated customer basis to be inclusive, you have to make it profitably. You can't just make it for people to feel happy coming from a company perspective.
No, but that's wrong because the average size of a female in America at some point was a 12 or 14. So the fact that companies won't make those sizes are disgusting. There are millions and millions of fat people wanting to buy clothes. Fat, I can say fat. Fat is not a dirty word.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Sounds pretty dirty.
It's not a dirty word. It shouldn't be a
can't
dirty
say-
word.
you
And if
can't
it's a
say
dirty
large.
word, if it's a dirty word, we have to unpack that, right?
You know,
No.
you know what's a good term? Fluffy.
Okay. Millions of fat or plus size people, whatever you want to say, have the money and want to buy clothes, right? They don't want to buy the ugly clothes from Torrid or Lane Bryant. Like those are ugly
Shots fired.
clothes. Yes, specifically. And they're ugly, right? We can like Google search them now. They're ugly. They're not what reflects the actual trends. So again, this is not a like consumer issue. This is a brand issue. Consumers are ready, of all body shapes, sizes, ready to purchase clothes, right? It's the brands and their bias. No.
Well, I
I
think
love you, but no.
well, no. You guys are saying the same thing, but what it boils down to is money.
Yes.
Brands are not making clothes from a benevolent standpoint.
Agreed.
They don't care if you feel included or not. If they do it to curry favor with the public, being like, "Oh, look how inclusive we are now in our wear. Buy our clothes." That's all they care about.
Do you remember
How
curry
is
your
it
favor?
not how okay, but if the majority of sizes aren't reflected in what they're producing, how is that?
No, but he's saying that. That's fine because now you're telling me the customer basis is bigger. Like, no pun intended, as in, like, there's a larger customer basis, so they have more money to spend, so therefore we should make the product. It's all about if it's going to sell off the shelves.
It's going to sell off the shelves. It's a guarantee it's going to sell off the shelves. Those sizes are the first to go.
Well, and I don't have
look
numbers.
at the clearance, okay, but as a little experiment, if you go on a website, right, and you look at the clearance section,
Double L's or smalls.
it's like, yeah, it's like the petite, like I go on Madewell all the time. This is an example, Madewell jeans, right? And I go on the clearance section because Madewell jeans are extremely pricey, right? And I go to a pair of jeans that I like, and the only sizes that are available are like 00, very, very small sizes. Why is that? Because the average size of person, I don't know if it's that size.
On clearance or something?
Those are basically all the sizes that are left. Why? Because no one can fit in them.
Well, I see triple XL always.
Okay.
Because the statistics will prove on both ends. There's not a lot of people. Right. That's why there's an average for a reason. I think we're all on the same point. Before this becomes a marriage counseling session, let's move on.
It's not a marriage counseling.
We're a team here.
No, but I think
we're not.
We are, but I think that I understand where you're coming from a business perspective, but like it's not.
They're the provider.
Wrong.
It's an untapped market. It's a new market.
But Destination XL tried it, and they've been very unsuccessful. Right, that's a whole brand made for larger. It's more
because the clothes are ugly.
And also people don't want to wear Destination XL. They want to wear the name brands. They want to feel comfortable in the brands.
Well, Abercrombie never. That also.
Abercrombie.
What I say?
Abercrombie.
That's how hurt I am from the brand.
Don't be that guy, Lindsay.
I don't care.
I never fit. I don't know, Dom. Did you ever fit those? I didn't fit when I was a kid, and I was like, "This is depressing."
Nike is a perfect example, right? Everybody wanted to wear Nikes, and they only made pretty narrow-toed shoes.
Not for our fat feet.
Exactly. We had to wear New Balance, and
but they're in again. We were early.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on, shall we? I got some more spicy topics for us to discuss.
This is going to be a great episode.
All right. Number 3, consider how social media makes you feel about yourself. The rise of social media has been a massive factor in self-esteem issues in recent years, explains Thomas Midgley, who set up the Body Image Treatment Clinic in London in 2019, after working with people with eating disorders in the NHS for many years. During the pandemic, some of our younger clients increased their social media use from 1 hour a day to 5 or 6 hours a day, Midgley says. Many of them use this time to follow the curated lives of influencers. This involves watching them do photo shoots on the beach in swimwear or working out in athleisure gear before focusing on what they eat or drink to maintain their physique with a solid dose of product placement along the way. The people who are watching are desperate to be like these individuals, creating a huge sense of inadequacy and obsessiveness around body image.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
What role do influencers play in body image, and do they have an obligation for body positivity?
Here's the thing. I don't know if anyone has an obligation to do anything. It's about like who you are as an influencer, what you want to say, knowing that it comes with a responsibility because you're reaching a mass amount of people. Do they have to be body positive? I don't know. I think, again, it depends on them and what they want to say. I think like the biggest thing about social media, and I think this is something that I tell individuals all the time, friends, whoever, it's not really unlikely to get rid of your social media, but you want to be mindful about what you're taking in, right? So if you love a social media influencer like she is, or they are promoting things that are unhealthy, or when you look at them, you don't feel good about yourself, get rid of them. You owe nothing to that person, right? You, as someone who is controlling or like going through social media, can control what you take in. So like for me, I've unfollowed a lot of social media influencers that have made me feel really inferior about who I am and what I look like, what I do with my time, right? I'm not jet setting around the world in a little bikini, and like that's okay. That's okay. So if that makes me feel inferior about myself, I can remove them and fill your social media with influencers who are aligned with you, right? Who show you what you want to see. For me, and like TikTok, like there are influencers, and this is like actually the upside of TikTok. There are so many creators on there that look like real people. Not all social media influencers are fake. And fill your page with influencers that are more aligned and what you want to see, right? Like if you're a mid-sized person and like you don't really get that, find it. They're out there. If you want to see a mid-sized person wear clothes, find it because they're there. So you can curate your social media.
How do you tell
Use
the
the mic.
difference between real and fake like influencers? What are your like criteria?
You know who's a really good one? Remy Bader. She like does these realistic try-on hauls.
Can you explain who that is?
Yeah,
Dean,
she
can we
is.
pull up a picture?
Yeah, she's a model. Yeah, Remi Bader, Bader.
He's not even
She
here.
started during COVID, I think, and she ordered
Hold on,
all
let me
these
pull up a picture.
clothes.
Girl with the laugh.
Yeah, she has a great laugh.
She's got a big laugh.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, but she's very geared towards. I mean, only.
Okay, well, I am speaking of a no. That's Drew.
That's a different one. It looks like. Okay.
Yeah, no. Remy is a model. She started during COVID. She's considered a plus size, mid size model. Depends on timing, I guess. I mean, whatever, won't speak on her body, but she, gears to individuals of mid size and plus size body types.
Yeah,
She does these series called Realistic Try-Ons. And like she orders clothes and she tries them on, and when they don't fit her the way that it's supposed to or it fits the model, she like kind of makes fun of it. She lightens the mood. And the message that you could take away from her is like, it's not just you, girl. It's not just you. It's like me too, and this looks ridiculous not just on you but me too. If it could look ridiculous on a model, then it's going to look ridiculous. It's not you, it's the brand. Taking the pressure off the person to fit the clothes rather than the clothes need to fit you. And she's been amazing. I love Remy. I'm a Remy fan. So like
Remy fanatic.
Remy fanatic. Filling your page with more individuals like her. Or if you don't align with Remy, cool. But like, you get to decide what you see on your social media. If you don't like it, scroll.
Well, TikTok's AI also helps you with that too.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of my next thing was curating your feed, but
Yeah.
we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't necessarily think going back to influencers if they have an obligation for body positivity. I just think it boils down for most of them to numbers, right? And a lot of it is product placement, whether it's a beauty line or a nutritional supplement, what it may be. I do have an interesting point, though. It's kind of two sides of a coin, right? You have one that's promoting body positivity, right? being comfortable in your own skin, yada, yada, yada. But then you have one promoting self improvement, whatever that means, workout videos, things like that. Justin, why don't you jump in here? How do you feel about people promoting unhealthy lifestyles but being comfortable in your own skin?
What do you mean by promoting unhealthy lifestyles?
Like, say, if they don't really exercise as much,
Mm.
maybe, or, you know, maybe they're just like, it doesn't matter like what you look like, you
Oh
should
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
confident in who you are.
Right. I guess the answer should be it depends, which is such a shitty political answer.
Boo.
I know. It's hard to take a hot take on this. I don't want to get
Well,
canceled.
take a hot take, baby.
I don't appreciate anyone promoting unhealthy habits, whatever those might be. That could be cigarette smoking. It could be like crushing a 12 pack of beer by yourself. It could also be, eating garbage food just for the sake of content development. Wasn't there, Dom, like a guy, I think, who died or
The
who's
super
known?
size me guy?
No. There was like literally a content creator who's known for eating large portions. I think he died or either has like really bad medical complications, whatever it might be. But he was doing it for the numbers, like to your point. So, like any of that, whether it's body positive or not, I think is very risky, especially for a younger generation who's watching, to Lindsay's point, these content creators. And on the surface, probably believing most of what they are is truthful or right or whatever it is. Like I'm sure there's someone out there who watches a guy crushing a 12 pack for fun and for content and wants to go do it the same. Like is that something, do we want that person influencing the next generation? Probably not, but social media is not going to do anything about it, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Something I did see in England, I believe, was a crackdown on some of this. I forget what country, but it was a pretty developed country that was taking measures to stop some of this. But I know Dom, the type of person that goes and it's like you should love your body no matter what. I would agree with that statement. I guess is we also have no idea, right, what their doctors or medical professionals are saying behind the scenes that they're not sharing. Like maybe that person should be exercising more or
Mm-hmm.
eating differently. And like, I have no clue because I don't know. Social media is only what you choose to put out there, positive or negative, right? So that person might have other complications behind the scenes that they're not sharing. And
Right.
I just got to take it at the surface level.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like being comfortable with who you are with your body image, but also striving to improve that in whatever way you see necessary. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily need to be, oh, I want to lose 15 pounds. It could be like, I want to improve myself where I feel comfortable taking off my shirt in public, or
Right.
I feel comfortable in a bathing suit. That's why, yeah, and it does come down to curating your own social media, right? But then you get like fed like bullshit, and you
Yeah.
have to like weed through it.
Who's
It's
the
a little frustrating.
who's the TLC star in North Carolina? The one that you like. What's her name? Are you serious, man?
Oh,
Kim
Whitney.
Whitney.
Kardashian.
Whitney. So Dom,
Whitney.
there's this. What's her last name?
Waythor.
Whitney Waythor.
Whitney
She should be considered plus size. Should be
Yeah.
plus size. She has her own reality show. I think it's a useless show about nothing. Hold on. I'm bringing a positive to this. But she's actually really entertaining, and like the crowd around her, she's like a Southern girl. That's like a very unflattering picture. Yeah, that's better. But she promotes active lifestyle. She openly talks about her struggle with weight. And like, I'll give this person a lot of credit, as annoying as I think reality show is. She actually is like, the show is kind of fun. I would never watch it, like sit down, but when Lindsay has it on, Lindsay's pretty religious about Whitney. I see that.
I'll tell
Lindsay
you what.
loves those shows.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
My
Oh,
500-pound
my
wife
million
or
pounds.
something.
Wait, it's 1,000-pound sisters.
My 1,000-pound sister. 1,000-pound sister. Love.
They're pretty funny.
They're funny.
Slaters?
They're pretty funny.
I just remember one going like, Sody?
But
Sody Pop.
I will give Whitney
Pop.
credit because I would consider her, even she's a reality show, but she's an influencer in today's media, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm actually impressed by the way she balances and openly talks about her struggles with weight, especially because her brother is like decently in shape, and her best friend's her trainer, which is kind of funny.
She's now in the fitness industry. Whitney struggles with PCOS. So it's really hard for her to lose weight, and I get that. A lot of people have been talking about her weight loss recently, but like here's the thing, right? Like weight loss, it's hard, right? Because like people look at you and they're like, "Oh my god, you look so good," or as Justin said, like kind of innocently, like, "Oh, that's a flattering picture." And that picture, she had lost 100 pounds, but like weight loss in doesn't necessarily equate to improvement, right? What we don't know, or what you guys don't know about Whitney, is that she lost her mom. So weight loss can come from stress. It can come from grief, right? Like it's really hard when you look at somebody who looks better. What does looking better mean? Looking closer to what society says is beautiful, right? But underneath that, you have no idea what that person is going through. You don't know if that weight loss was intentional, right? So what I love about Whitney is that she keeps it real. She always keeps it real. I think on the latest season, she acknowledges her weight loss, and she says that it wasn't all intentional. Like she's always been an active girl. She's always tried to push herself. I think she even got like she's a personal trainer, or she at least tried, and like she is a personal trainer, or she's in the fitness industry. Okay, but I saw you.
What about body image? Like, I'm just trying to bring it back with her. I think she promotes.
I think she does, and I think she promotes movement for all body types.
That's a good way.
Regardless of your body, you can move joyfully. You can move how and what feels good to your body, where you're at in your fitness journey and fitness level. I think she's what we need to see.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I think the fitness wellness space doesn't have to be so small. We can expand it to individuals of all sizes, all genders, all body types.
Right. It doesn't need to be the pinnacle of physical prowess, you know?
No.
Like it's a spectrum. And I think we have a misconception of labeling larger people as unhealthy.
Correct.
Right? And when I was doing my residency interviews a few years ago, one of the questions I was asked was, "What's a bias that you have in healthcare?" And I was like, "That's a great question." And that was the one that I brought up, you know, about how people who are larger get labeled as unhealthy. And the person I was speaking to was a larger woman, and she told me this story that she went to the emergency room and they basically was telling her that she has diabetes, and she was like, my blood sugars are fine, like I know it's not diabetes, but she kind of got put into like this category of like, you haven't taken care of yourself, you are unhealthy. And I see this as well in my own practice about people who are skinny, right, and quote unquote look healthy, but if you look under the hood, metabolically they're in shambles, and vice versa. You know, pretty obese people, and obesity is an issue on its own, right? There's pro-inflammatory cytokines that come with adiposity, whatever. But you know, some people who are 300 plus pounds, but their blood work looks immaculate, right?
Yep.
And there's this whole movement now, you know, HAES, right?
Health at every size.
size.
Yeah, good. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you know that.
Dom, one more comment is I'm actually impressed by. I'm always curious about athletes and body image, like because when you look at, I'll take NFL players and linemen in particular, like they need to be heavy, and maybe they actually. It seems like on the surface is where I don't know. They don't care how that weight looks on them, but they have a weight because for athletic prowess. Or sumo wrestlers is like the whole polar opposite. But then you have the other end where you have like swimmers and you have a certain body structure. And I remember many years ago, what resonated with me, which helped me through some struggles, was the Penn State kicker. I think it was the punter. Was like
I remember him.
He was this like short, chubbier looking guy with like glasses, and he came out and talked about bulimia. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like a D1 athlete talking about an eating disorder in public, which is so rare for men. I always think about like men's, you know, body structure. Yeah, it's my boy. Joey Julius.
Joey Julius. Yeah,
great name for that.
That guy eats a lot of Italian food.
He's just body by Mortadella. Yeah, so anyway, I always think about like athletes though, and how we see a lot of athletes drop a lot of weight after the fact because they don't need to eat that anymore. Yeah. But from a body image perspective, like these 300 plus pound guys who don't look right on the surface like what most men are probably striving for. Yet they are not only getting paid millions of dollars to do their career path, but they also seem pretty freaking happy with their body structure and don't care enough. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm kind of
Well, I think they're just doing whatever they need to do to get a competitive advantage,
right.
whether it's
It's their
getting
job.
bigger or getting leaner. Yeah. I mean, if somebody paid me $8 million to be 300 pounds,
No problem.
I might do that.
Yeah.
Um.
It's interesting.
All right. Well, this has been good. I got one more for us, so we could do it kind of quickly because we did talk about it already a little bit. This is all about apps. Quitting apps may not be the solution. Majorly uses cognitive behavioral therapy and compassion-focused therapy, which involves not telling anybody what to do or what not to do. Instead, he helps clients to build the capacity to step back from situations and understand how they have become vulnerable to this process. Most people realize they are being pulled in by these clickbait things of being excited and desiring something. If they can consider, why am I doing this? Why am I following this person? How is it nourishing me? Or is it damaging? Then they are more likely to bring in a skeptical eye to what they're doing and be able to step out of these cycles and act differently going forwards. So, I asked this to you guys, about this attachment that we have to these apps, mainly social media apps.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done like an app detox where you like,
1,000%.
She's pretty good.
yeah. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, no. Gosh. Well, I deleted Snapchat because like I don't need to see what individuals are doing throughout the day. I don't need to see what people are eating for lunch and like the crazy calorie deficits they're doing because like everyone is like likes to post about it, right? Like I don't want to know. I don't want to know. People do. It's like
I'm eating another salad.
going to the gym for the second time today, and I'm like, well, damn, like I can't. So
No days off.
no days off. Yeah, that's a good one. Like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I can't have access to that, so I deleted that. But like honestly, like everybody needs a detox, right? And if you feel like you can't let this go, it's really important to unpack why. What is this giving you? What is scrolling, receiving that giving you? And what would it be like to kind of sit with yourself? If you can't put this away for an hour, there's something underneath that.
Oh, that's what you call a detox, an hour?
Well, I don't know. It depends on people. Maybe it's a week. Small smart goals, Dom.
Smart goals.
Attainable.
Wow, that's a good professional term right there.
Smart goals. Attainable small goals. But okay, maybe a week. Can you stay off Instagram for a week? Can you stay off TikTok for a week? I know I cannot because I love to look at puppies. So
this is true.
I love looking at the dogs. Yeah, it's really important to do so sometimes.
I went through Dom and deleted socials that I didn't think was healthy for my feed. And then I also have taken a few breaks, specifically from Instagram. It's like the only one really on often. I also found myself getting very distracted because my phone was near me and social was around me. So like outside the body image stuff, I just was like, I'm not focusing on whatever task at hand, typically work, that I should have been. I was just, like, oh, let me just go to TikTok for these 3 minutes because I can't do anything more productive in those 3. But I think with the algorithms now, they're doing a better job of keeping out the things that you don't want to see. And you can actually now click, I think, TikTok and Instagram, like not interested. And it will learn from that, which is good and healthy. But I'm sure you've cleaned out like your Instagram profiles.
1,000%. I still do.
1,000%.
I do an Instagram cleanse maybe like every couple of months or so because it's so easy just to like something that you see and click the follow button, but then over time it becomes something that's not, or it's not, resonating with you or fueling you or lifting you up in the way that you wanted to or imagine. That goes with like people too. Like you can unfollow, you can mute, like it's okay.
I have some people muted that they would not like it if they knew that they were muted.
Damn, don't talk about us like that.
That's crazy. Like if that one girl from high school that you haven't spoken to in 6 years posts shit on Instagram that's making you feel bad, unfollow. Like, come on.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay.
It's
know?
okay. Exactly.
It's
And
okay.
it's not a personal thing. It's just I don't like the stuff that you're putting out.
Yeah. And
Whether
I
it's
don't like what
like
you're
extremely
saying.
political in one way or another, or if it's just like all things about like your significant other, like that shit is stupid. Get
True.
that stuff off my feed.
Right.
I just want to see puppies and cooking videos,
Facts.
facts,
What
and
we like-
weird comparisons
We like
of
real
like
ASMR.
We like real estate stuff.
real estate stuff.
Lindsay likes the classic comedy of people falling and injuring themselves. She's like the Three Stooges comedy.
Oh.
She loves that.
Whatever.
I love babies.
I like size comparisons. Like, oh, this is what Godzilla would look like compared to
Great.
Brurion the Black Dread.
Give me the follow.
I'd be like, that's what the size is.
In case you were wondering.
Well, this has been great, Lindsay. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing
Yeah.
all your wisdom and knowledge. It's good to have a perspective that's different than me and Justin's, just because we're pretty identical in a lot of the ways that we think. So it's
Rigid.
good to have that balance. Well, I wouldn't say that.
No, I'm kidding.
I would say
No.
different. But we
It's
have
okay.
we have 16 other topics to go over, so we'll definitely have you come back on for
Yeah.
future visits, and we can unpack some of these. These were fun.
Good. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Good. All right, any closing remarks, you two?
If you need help, go seek a therapist.
Go Rangers.
It's hard to get a therapist, though. At least in Vermont, it's like very hard.
Utilize Psychology Today. Go through your insurance portal. Help is out there.
It's hard to find someone that has availability. They're like, oh, are you available Tuesday at 2 p.m.? Like, no, I have a job.
Talk about
That's a conversation maybe for another podcast. Accessibility in healthcare, mental health care. You'll have to have me back on for another time then.
You're welcome on whenever you want.
Thank you.
All right. Well, always a pleasure.
Bye.
Take care.